السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وتابعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Welcome to a second episode of Mercy in Disguise. I would like to share with you today a verse from the Quran that I hope that we keep it between our eyes, in front of us as we are going through the experiences that we're going through. And that verse is from Surah Al-Baqarah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَسَى أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَى أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, but perhaps you hate a thing and it's good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it's bad for you. And Allah knows while you do not know, or you know not. So when we're thinking about the situation we're going through, this beautiful verse changes our mindset of how we perceive things, how we look at things. And so it makes us realize that we need to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because He is more wise than we are. He's obviously more knowledgeable. He's the all-knowing, the all-wise. And so whatever circumstances we're in, or whatever events we're going through in our life, that maybe perhaps we should not hate it because it might be good for us. Because Allah knows and we do not know. And I would like to use that as a stepping stone to bring in another hadith that inshallah hopefully would clarify a hidden gem for us, a hidden mercy from the events that we're going through. And this has to do with the hadith from Sahih al-Bukhari where Abu Hurairah anhu, when he said that the Prophet ﷺ said, مَن يُرِدِ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا يُصِبْ مِنْهُ, that whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants good for, then He would afflict him, meaning that He would afflict him and test him with hardships. And so this tells you that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants something good for us, that it's natural for us to be tested one way or another. But the question obviously is going to come up, well, how is this good for us? How is it when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants something good for us, and this is something, a mercy in disguise, where does this come from? Well, the other hadith of the Prophet ﷺ can help clarify this. But I would want to share with you another hadith that's narrated in Sunan Abu Dawood that beautifully embodies this aspect of it. And so this hadith is narrated that the Prophet ﷺ had said that the slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it was written for him that he would be in a specific rank or in a specific level in Jannah on the Day of Judgment, or in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, his own actions does not enable him to attain that level. So what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? ابتلاه الله في جسده أو في ماله أو في ولده. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would test him, afflict him in his body, or his wealth, or his child. In addition to that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants him ثم صبره. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then blesses him and enables him to be patient, so that he'll be rewarded, so that he will be elevated to the rank that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants him to be elevated to. And so this is why the other hadith clarify these even more, when the Prophet ﷺ said that a Muslim is not afflicted with any sort of tiredness, or sickness, or worry, or sadness, or any sort of harm, even the thorn that pricks him, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with it, كفر الله بها عن خطاياه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eliminates, expiates some of his sins. And so as we can see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from His mercy upon us, for His love to us, that sometimes He'd want us to be elevated different ranks. And so maybe our deeds are not sufficient. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps us and supports us by, and has mercy on us by afflicting us with this pain. And so we cleanse some of our sins. It is normal. We are human beings. We commit sins. And unfortunately, these sins distance us away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They reduce the rank that we could be in on the Day of Judgment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of His immense mercy upon us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to cleanse these sins from us, so that we would get closer to Him and elevate in ranks on the Day of Judgment. And even if we don't have sins, this is still benefiting for us, because in the end, these can be acting as a form of elevating us in ranks, in getting rewards. And it's interesting that Imam al-Nawawi had specifically mentioned this last hadith that I mentioned, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not afflict a Muslim with any sort of tiredness or sickness until the end of it, Imam al-Nawawi had placed it in the chapter of patience. And this is in Riyadh Salihin. He placed it in the chapter since in patience. And this is because if whenever we know the reward or whatever we're attaining because of something we're going through, it gives us patience. It gives us the ability to see, all right, this is happening for a reason, and if this is the immense reward, we be patient for it. Now, I want to add another hidden mercy in disguise with this aspect, since we're talking about patience. Whatever we're afflicted through on its own is ground for reward. But if we have patience, we're even rewarded for it even more. This is why when the previous hadith we talked about, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them patience. Patience is something that elevates us even in rank. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards patience without any sort of associated number of specific hasanat. This is why the Prophet ﷺ also directed to us, and he said, "Ajaban li amri al-mu'min," amazing the state of affairs of the believer. If he is given something good, then he's thankful, and so it's good for him. And if he's afflicted with hardship, then he's patient, and it was good for him. And then remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Zumar, he said, إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. That indeed those who are patient will be given the reward on Day of Judgment without numeration, without account. Because patience is something that is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is so hard and so difficult that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His immense mercy, saw it fit that He would reward for it unparalleled to any way, without numeration or any sort of associated number of hasanat with it. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who are able to endure the hardship that we're going through, to be patient with it, the most beautiful of patience, so that it will cleanse our sins and elevates us in the ranks to the heavens, so that inshallah on the Day of Judgment we'll all be together with those who are in the highest of ranks, such as the martyrs and the pious and the righteous and the prophets, salawatullah sallam alayhim ajma'een, especially the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to take from him a handful from the Hawd al-Kawthar, a drink by which we would never go thirsty again. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who are under the shade of His throne, those who enjoy looking upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment. جزاكم الله خير. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت وأستغفرك وأتوب إليك.